Hello, viewers, and welcome back to Corpse Party Book of Shadows. I think we're nearing the end of this because we're at chapter 7 now, and the 8th chapter, Blood Drive, which is the title of the 3rd game, is the only one after this, so hopefully we get some idea of what the hell... Okay, so when this whole thing started out, it seemed like it was showing that we were in a Groundhog Day loop following the first game. And right now, it has just been showing how everybody is equally fucked. No matter what, it seems. So, hopefully we get some answers in the next chapter. I guess just Tooth. Let's see. Back in senior high school, student council room, 4:30. And I remember, I think one of the bonus chapters from the first game had this same title, so yeah, her.
何がだ?
蹴り入れていい?
却下、何があるんだ、明日。
Back with her in Great Value Byakuya.
こら! 生徒会室で暴力行為は禁則と定めだろう!
知るもんか。忘れてる方が悪いもん。
やめなきゃ。
Oh,
こちらに
jeez.
非があるなら謝罪する。まず聞こうじゃないか。
Yes, please.
この部屋の徹底掃除だよ。見てこれ。何これ。片付けろっつうの。何この玉。玉入れのやつじゃん。体育祭いつだったよ。
Oh.
ああ、そういえばそんなことを言っていたか。一体。
忘れてたでしょ。
いや、記憶はしていた。僕も美月の意向には。
普通に喋れ。
ああ、忘れてたさ。俺だっていろいろ考えることがあって忙しかったんだよ。会長だからって何でもかんでもみんな俺んとこ持ってくるしさ。悪かったな。
うん、許す。
なんだ。え？
初期としての進言です。たまには言い訳くらいした方がいいよ。男らしい生徒会長もかっこいいけどさ。だが戦線離脱は許さないからな。逃げられると思うなよ。
She just beats you because she cares.
わかった。
わかんねえやつだな、ともひろ。ミンコは俺の嫁だっつってんだろ。
Oh, jeez.
いや、譲らないぞ。涼介にはナナさんって人がいるだろ。ダマタとかマジないよ。
バカ。3人からモテて初めてリア充だろ。上皇。
This girl has her, what is this? Reverse harem?
楽しそうだね、それ。ゲーム？
おお、山本。お前もやる？タッチペンでグリグリしてチューするゲーム。女の子3人と付き合えるぜ。
Oh, I've seen those for the DS. They've never been bold enough to release it here though.
何？
ハマるのはいいけど、一人に絞れ。
Oh shit! She hit him too?
あんたら明日のこと覚えてるんだろうね。
何でしたっけ？
I had no idea any of this was going on in the student council room that day. I had other things on my mind, specifically a certain boy. Oh, is that it? Byakuden Senior High School. After school. Yes. Toko Kirasaki. I'm waffling for quite some time on whether to say anything, but finally I decided to bite the bullet and ask his best friend, Kurosaki.
ねえねえ、ゆうやってさ、彼女いるの？
あ、いや、あいつ今フリーだと思うよ。なんで？
This one has introduced us to a lot more people from these other, I guess, maybe other schools from other timelines that also got caught in Heavenly Host. And it's showing us their stories as well. And elaborating on them a bit.
マジ？おお、いいじゃん、応援するよ。でもあいつな、女の子といてもいっつもつまんなそうにしてるから、付き合えても切り裂きがあんまり楽しくないかもしれない。
でも確かにゆうやってモテるわに手とか全然出してこないって女子はみんな言ってるな。
それって悪い印象？
I don't know, not necessarily. I mean, just Kensuke Kurosaki. You've known Yuya his. Oh wait. Oh, that's. Oh fuck no. No, Yuya. No, I take that back. Yuya is not. He's that shithole. Me going really well. Not only did I confirm Yuya wasn't seeing anyone, but I got his best friend's blessing too. No, he's the more sadistic, hurt people because he likes it sort of type. I hope that's... I don't know if that's your type either. Sorry, it took me a moment. There are just... We are being introduced to so many characters in this series that it's honestly getting a little hard to keep track of them all. In the classroom doorway, arms folded across her chest, like some angry deity about to cast judgment on the world. She had that deathly gleam in her eyes, the one that could fell the mightiest warrior before he had a chance to draw his sword.
今日は生徒会室の徹底掃除するから来なさいって言ったでしょ。
いや、俺今日部活だって言ったじゃん。おい、袋いんな。
逆らうな、もう無理だ。
Divine punishment, all who opposed her. That's right, it was easier to just give in.
面白そう私も行くおお手は多いほど良いぞよ
An interesting analogy there.
俺生徒会じゃないのに。
Ah, yes, this old anime trope. Instead... Oh, here we go.
大丈夫どこ
And now here they are, trapped in Heavenly Host.
いいよ全部入っちゃったら楽になるよ
Not the first visual novel we've played with a glasses girl named Toko, though.
どう楽になった気がするよかったどうするみんなのところに戻る
Okay. The stall doors seem to be stuck and absolutely will not open. But I was just in there. Maybe the lock somehow got jammed when I left? Even the knob turned on full blast, there's no water coming through these pipes anymore. Oh. Oh, I think I remember. Yeah, we saw this event play out back in the first game now.
陽介陽介痛いか痛いか膝と大腿部の関節を縛った出血は抑えられるはずだ
足も持ってきてるから心配するな
We were in an old-fashioned, run-down, probably condemned school building. None of us knew how we got here, or even where here was. I just emerged from the girls' room with Emmy after losing my lunch, where Yuya, Okawa, Katayama, and Shimada were waiting. The whole hallway was an absolute bloodbath after what happened. Poor Katayama walked into some kind of booby trap, and half his right leg was lopped off from the knee down. It looked excruciating. How is somebody supposed to handle a situation like this? Why does this have to happen to them at all?
なんなんだよこの学校。なんで罠とか仕掛けてあるんだ。つうかどこだよここ。ふざけんなよ。
静かにしてよ。涼介大怪我してんだぞ。
あ？なんだおい。やんのかこれ。やめて。
This is what tagging along with Mitsuki and the others got me. Thought it was going to be a laugh riot, and at first it was great. We all went to the student council room, where we met up with Katayama, Shimada, and Emmy and started cleaning and goofing around. And then, when we were done, Emmy suggested we all try out this new charm she discovered on the internet. She's nuts for that kind of stuff. Yeah, the Sachiko charm. She took out this simple white paper doll, and we were all kind of fascinated. So we did as we were instructed, and then suddenly everything went dark. There was a violent shaking, and then we were here, in this old schoolhouse. No explanation.
とにかく出ようよここ。みんなで一緒にここを出よう。玄関に行こう。
片山は
俺が背負う。
待ってでも今みたいな罠とかさあったら危ないよ。人を背負ってたらとっさに動けないし。
That's a good point.
だけどだからまずは外までの道の安全を確保してから片山くんを連れに戻ってきた方がいいと思うんだ。
Scout things out then?
賛成だ。
そっか。
涼介大丈夫だぞ。お前を置いてったりしないな。
Okawa was in a state of absolute panic. He just kept muttering to himself at Katayama's side. The two of them had always been extremely close. It's only natural he'd be worried, though his concern kind of bordered on obsession.
でもじゃあ誰が行くの？通路を歩いてるだけでいきなり足が切り飛ばされるんだよ。
お前今玄関行こうっつったじゃねえか。行ってこいよ。
What a gentleman. Shimada practically spit his answer at her. I hate people like him. Sure, he had a pretty face. That's basically all he had, though. People like him pose as models in men's journals, but they're not good for much else. He got a lot of girls, too, but I'm not one of them. I can never get past his awful attitude. It's such a huge turnoff for me when guys act that way. Not that I don't admire speaking with confidence and force. I try to do it myself whenever I can. but there's a difference between speaking forcefully and speaking in a way that belittles others. Shimato is basically just cold and uncaring.
私が行くよ言い出すってだし
俺も行こう
Oh boy, but he's the last person I want with us. He's sus. What a difference, like night and day. Kind, thoughtful people like him don't make flippant remarks. They just man up and get stuff done. I don't know about that. I was crushed on him harder than ever because now not only did I think he was both cool and hot, but I gained a ton more respect for him.
大人数で行く必要はない行くならあと一人くらいだどうする
Dead silence. No volunteers, huh? Everybody just looked at one another, then looked away as if they were ashamed of themselves.
俺はどうしよう涼介寂しいよな
Oh, he's just... Yeah, he's pretty paranoid. He was frantically shifting his gaze from one person to another. I'd never seen him so on edge before. Finally, the silence was broken by a loud, shrill male voice. Definitely not whom I would have picked.
くそ俺が言ってやるよお前はここにいろ
いいの女子の桐崎さんが行くって言ってるのに
俺が行くヘタレはここで待ってろ邪魔になる
分かった俺は涼介についてるよ頼む
じゃあ行こう急がないと片山マジで危ないし気をつけてね
Was I scared? You bet I was scared. But in a situation like this, everybody has to work together. As long as I had any willpower left in me, I wasn't about to give up. Plus, it didn't hurt that Yu was with me, so I knew everything was going to turn out just fine. If you say so. Okay. This is the path for now. The word infirmary was written on the plate above the door. Somehow the room just felt like it would be deserted. I was oddly confident about that. Not sure why I felt that way, to be honest, but for good measure, I shouted, "Is anybody in there?" We still hadn't found Mitsuki after all. I didn't hear her call back, though, so really we had no business in this room whatsoever. Wait, was that a key sticking out of the lock? Who would have locked the door but left the key? What would be the point?
お、なんだこれ。扉に鍵刺さってるぜ。
何してんの？
中に化け物でもいたら大変だろ。出てこれないようにしてやった。
その鍵どうするのよ。
俺が持っとくよっと。
Hmm.
危ないな、投げないでよ。
キャッチうめえだろっと。まだ高く投げられるぜ。
Pain in the ass. Shimada was such a pain in the ass. I really couldn't stand the guy.
ふっと。
しつこい、分かったからやめて。
ここ天井高えな。よし。ふっな。
Huh?
どこ行った？まあいいや。知らね。
And now the infirmary is cut off from us, so we needed it. Brilliant. Oh, so he lost the key up there. Great. Thanks a lot.
昇降口だ。やった、出られる。
Don't know if that's going to do you much good. I rushed to the door, hopeful yet afraid, knowing it might not open, but praying this horrible place would show us at least a little mercy. Gingerly, I raised my hand and pushed on it, and it swung open without even the slightest hesitation. It seemed almost too easy. Really? Oh, we're outside? It was unnaturally dark outside, though, and the rain was coming down so hard that peeking my head out for just a moment left my uniform completely soaked. Shimada pushed past me, throwing the door open even wider with his usual lack of regard for anyone and anything around him. My clothes went from soaked to drenched in a matter of seconds. If I were to actually walk out into it, I felt like I'd drown.
なんだこりゃ。真っ暗だぞ。森？
ひどい雨。こんな中外に出て行ったら服びしょ濡れになりそう。
そりゃ見てみてえな。
けど外に出られることは分かったね。片山たち連れに戻ろう。ね、ゆうや。
Despite her having found a way out, Yuya's demeanor hasn't changed a bit. He was standing back by the hall where he could watch over us, while also keeping an eye out for anyone else that might happen by. The model of maturity. Shimada, on the other hand.
頑張れよ。俺はもう出るぞ。
What?
こんなわけわかんねえところ、とっとと出るに限るぜ。片山のところになんか戻らねえよ。
Oh, wow.
マジで言ってる？
当たり前だバカ。脳なしから順番に死ぬようになってるんだよ。あんな奴ら放っとけよ。
びっくり。いいんだこんなやつ。
よう桐崎、お前も来いよ。
The tone in his voice said it all. He hit the ultimate low. After abandoning his friends to save his own hide, he was now basically propositioning me.
お前には死んでほしくないんだ。前から大事に思ってたからさ。
with an obviously rehearsed and truly sickening pickup line. He really was the slime ball to end all slime balls.
信じらんない。何お前、こっち見んなよ。
I couldn't believe he had the nerve to pull something like this. I felt like that may have been the first time I've ever truly yelled at someone. I was absolutely livid. And he wasn't even done. No, he still had plenty of salt left to throw in the wound.
うるせえブス、調子乗ってんなよ。
Oh, wow.
せっかく
Yeah.
行かせてやろうと思ったのによ。後悔しろや。
死ねえ。こいつマジ切れる。行こう、ゆうや。
My head was swimming. I was scared, I was angry, I was sad, every negative emotion brought to the forefront, and every positive emotion pushed away. I didn't look back. I just turned away from Shimada, walked over to Yuya's side, and continued past him into the hallway. Yuya had been watching all this unfold from the other side of the room, and for a moment, he just stood there, staring blankly at Shimada.
あ？何見てんだよ。消えろよ、能面野郎。
Huh? Shimada then drew a large knife from his breast pocket. Its tip struggled to glisten in the dull light of the room, but it did ultimately succeed. He began waving it around like a dumbass, probably thinking it made him look more menacing.
見ろよこれ。昨日買ったんだよ。使えそうだろ？いろいろ。
お前は本当に面白いな。
あいつ女10人くらいいるんだよ。信じられる？何が大事に思ってたよ。どんだけ女の子バカにしてんの？マジ許せない。
I was indignant. I was fuming. I would just kept cursing and mumbling as I fast walked back to the third floor to meet up with the others. And all the while, Yuya was keeping pace with me, saying nothing at all. Always the model of maturity, always even-tempered. He really was like a rock. Or maybe he found my mutterings annoying and was just keeping quiet so I'd do the same. I didn't like that possibility one bit, so I mentally slapped myself on the cheek, forced positivity in my voice, and tried to engage him in cheery banter.
ゆうやはその点誠実だよね。女の子傷つけたこと一回もないでしょ。超モテるのに悪い噂聞いたことないもん。ある意味すごいよ。
I looked him square in the eyes as if asking him, "Isn't that right?" And for a moment, his eyes did meet mine, but then they went right back to the hall. Was he not used to receiving compliments from women? That seemed hard to believe.
よくわからない。
What a cute, innocent response. Don't know about that. I must have come across as bipolar to him or something. One second I'd try to lighten the mood with small talk or compliments, and then I'd start to feel scared of the school again, or angry at Shimada, or sad for Katayama. My mind just couldn't make up its mind what to feel. Huh?
見つけたよね、今の声。下の階だ。
Mitsuki's voice echoed up from below, but our friends were waiting for us from above. For a moment I wasn't sure which direction to go, but only for a moment. The fact is our friends were very close, so close that it would be foolish not to even tell them what was going on before chasing after Mitsuki.
急ごう。エミや片山たち連れてみんなで下に行こうよ。
Yui just nodded and began running up the stairs, and I was right behind him.
お待たせ。出口見つかったよ。さあ、みんな行こう。
I was out of breath, staring down at the ground and talking to what I assumed to be 3 very attentive friends. But then I looked up. They were all there, but there was no immediacy, no urgency on anyone's face. Emi and Okawa weren't even looking at me, nor at Yuya, but at Katayama. They were fixated on his face, and each bore a sad, hopeless, empty expression, and they certainly weren't about to get moving. There was a general heaviness in the air. Something was very wrong. I gently reached out my hand and touched Emi's shoulder.
どうしたの？どこ？ダメ。片山くん、どんどん衰弱してる。
陽介、喋らなくなったよ。どうしよう。
Oh.
陽介。
Emi's eyes were filled with tears. Okawa, too, was cradling Katayama's head and looked like he'd been crying this whole time. His eyes were bright red and his nose was running. Yuya, still saying nothing, just walked over to Katayama's side, bent down and began examining his wound.
ゆうや。
急いだ方がいい。
The 4 of us silently but unanimously agreed that the best course of action was to pick up Katayama and bring him out through the exit we discovered. And we had to be very, very quick about it, or he really would die. I could tell just by looking at him that his time was almost up.
木上くん、背負える？
あ、背に乗せるのを手伝ってくれ。
涼介、頑張れ。みんなが助けてくれるぞ。
As this was all going on, I had that nagging feeling like I was forgetting something. Huh? Of course, Mitsuki. We had to go find her. We couldn't just leave her behind after all.
ゆうや、どうしよう。私、2階ちょっと見てきていい？美月の声が気になるんだ。遠くに行っちゃったら。
He didn't even have to say anything this time. His eyes told me the whole story. Got it. I know I can trust you with this task, they said. And that was enough for me. I shot off down the hall like a bullet. I was determined to find Mitsuki and rejoin everyone en route. I hurried down to the second floor.
I'm playing a game.